Open the Administrative Services Committee meeting for Monday, August 19th. Please call the roll.
Councilor Cordino?
Here.
Councilor Tomasi?
Here.
Councilor Hill?
Here.
Councilor Cabrera?
Here.
Councilor Roma?
Here. I'd like a motion to approve the minutes of the August 5th, 2019 committee meeting. Councilor Tomasi, Councilor Hill.
Councilor Cordino?
Yes.
Councilor Tomasi?
Yes.
Councilor Hill?
Yes.
Councilor Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilor Roma?
Yes. Is there any old business to attend to here? Seeing none, moving right along to new business. Item number 1, Mayor William J. Barlow Jr. received a request from Kristen Binder, ORA block leader, to donate 7 maple trees to be planted on East 6th Street between East Seneca and East Schuyler Street. Is there anybody here to speak to this? This is pretty cut and dry, I'd say. They want to donate trees? Yes, Councilor Tomasi.
Yes, they've done a fantastic job in the neighborhood, and they did reach out wanting to do that, so it's going to be beautiful.
Sounds good to me. That's a vote of confidence right there. Anything else? Seeing none, can I have a motion? Councilor Hill, Councilor Tesorario.
Councilor Cordino?
Yes.
Councilor Tomasi?
Yes.
Councilor Hill?
Yes.
Councilor Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilor Roma?
Yes. Item number 2, Kevin Caracoli, City Attorney, seeks favorable consideration by the Common Council in connection with awarding property located at 8 Mercer Street to the highest bidder for the property. Mr. Caracoli?
Mr. Chairman, the committee memo was pretty straightforward. We did receive 2 bids. They were sealed. In fact, we opened them last meeting before the start of the regular meeting. And so one of them, we'll call bid number 1, as I mentioned in your package, was for the sum of $1,001. The bidder proposed to use the property for personal use, utilizing a 1-car garage for storage and building a larger building at some point, and removing that garage, and proposed to spend $10,000 and proposed that it would be done in the next 5 years. Bid 2 was for $4,500. The bidder was proposing, again, use the garage, eventually build a house attached to the garage, and proposed spending $60,000 and would take about 7 months to complete. So, I mean, when I break it down, they're virtually for the same use. They're both local bidders. One is, comparatively significantly more than the other. So I'm here to answer any questions. Ultimately it's up to the Common Council to determine which bid to go with, and that we would award that bid based on your vote.
Okay. Are there any questions for City Attorney Caracoli on this? I know we've discussed it behind closed doors in the executive session, and we're all aware of what the bid is. No comments or questions? I guess there's no questions for you, Councilor.
Okay.
Can I have a motion? Councilor Tomasi? Councilor Tesorario?
I'm sorry.
Oh, you have a question?
We're taking the highest bid, correct?
Yes, it's the highest bidder.
Okay, yes.
That was going to be my clarification too, because I didn't make a recommendation. I was leaving it to you all. But what I'm hearing you say is to award to the highest bidder, which would be bid number 2.
I think we're all in agreement on that. Highest bidder gets the property.
I'll prepare that resolution.
All right, now can I have a motion? Councilor Tomasi, Councilor Tesorario.
Councilor Cordino?
Yes.
Councilor Tomasi?
Yes.
Councilor Hill?
Yes.
Councilor Cabrera?
Yes.
Councilor Roma?
Yes. Item number 3, the Department of Public Works requests that the Common Council approves the bid submitted by 80 Flood Drive Properties in the amount of $5,436.50 for purchasing salvaged vehicles. I see Commissioner Kells in the audience. Is there anything you want to add to this pretty cut and dry? Pretty cut and dry. As we all know, from time to time, the city accumulates salvaged or vehicles that need to be salvaged, and we put them out to bid, and this is the most recent one. Any other comments or concerns? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Hill, Councilor Tesorario.
Councilor Cordino?
Yes.
Councilor Tomasi?
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Caparero.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes. Item number 4, Justin Rudgick, Director of Economic Development, requests approval of change order number 4 submitted by W.D. Malone for additional labor in regards to the Pocket Park. Mr. Rudgick contacted me earlier today and asked if I had any questions or there were any concerns, because he couldn't make the meeting tonight. And I think, again, this is pretty cut and dry, that when they did the Pocket Park, as he described to me, they ran into some things that they didn't know in the ground, some pipes and sewer pipes that had to be moved and fixed. So there is an additional charge of $17,391.50. Are there any other concerns or comments about this resolution? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Hill, Councilor DeMassey.
Counselor Corino.
Yes.
Counselor Thomas.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Caparero.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes. Need a resolution? Mr. Rudgick will do it. He's not here, but we'll make him in charge of that. Item number 5, the Engineering Department requests that the mayor be authorized to amend the contract with Diversified Infrastructure Systems to include change order number 1 for the Sewer Investigations Area 3 EFC project. Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, this is a unit price project, and the review for the final quantities came in at less, so this is a deduct to the to the contract.
Well, you don't have to twist our arm to do this one.
Yeah, you can keep that money.
Any concerns or questions for Mr. Johnson while he's up there? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Wilmot, Councilor Hill.
Counselor Corino.
Yes.
Counselor Thomas.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Caparero.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes. Item number 6, the Engineering Department requests that the mayor be authorized to sign amendment number 1 with GHD Consulting Engineers, LLC, to include construction administration services for the SCADA Improvements Project. Mr. Johnson.
So this project is kind of the 3 parts to this. One of them is somewhat of a construction inspection. There are some hard wires, some conduits, and some other hardware that needs to be installed prior to them finishing the SCADA programming. And then they also need to integrate the east side SCADA programming that is going through the Jacobs engineering firm with the east side upgrade. So there's 3 different things going on with this amendment to the GHD contract.
From what I read in the literature, there was 3 phases, and phase 2 wasn't going to be utilized?
Well, not necessarily phase 2 is not being utilized. What it is the second part of this contract amendment has to do with the west side plant. And the third part has to do with the east side plant. They're all getting done. So there's contract administration for what they're doing with the hardwire contracting. And once everything's in place, then they can send their tech engineers over and finish the install. That's my understanding of what that meant.
And am I correct in saying that from my notes and reading the contract, it was $198,500?
Yes.
In your opinion, will the SCADA system be completely up to date after this?
I would certainly hope so. You know, this follows the original design of SCADA system. There was the original contract. This is an amendment to the original contract, and that was a substantial amount of money as well. But they cannot finish the project until everything is in place. All the hardware has got to be in place.
Okay. Any other questions from the council? Councilor Tesorario.
Bob, does this mean that the east and west can respond together when we're complete, or no? It's just one plant or the other plant?
Yeah, I mean, It's a way to track everything. I mean, they're not going to be linked together completely so that you can only, need one operator. You're not going to achieve that. You're going to need people at both plants.
All right, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else have any concerns, questions? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Council Tesevario, Council Wilmot.
Council Cardino.
Yes.
Council DeMasi.
Yes.
Council Hill.
Yes.
Council Teserra.
Yes.
Council Wilmot.
Yes.
Item number 7, the Engineering Department requests approval of a bid submitted by W.D. Malone in the amount of $674,451 for the Brittany Hill and Munn Street Drainage and Pavement Improvements Project. Mr. Johnson.
So both these projects, in particular the Brittany Hill project, has been basically on the burners for a number of years. There's been some issues with drainage, and the pavements are failed in both areas. And so, because they were a very similar type of project, and not just a paving project, it was decided to lump them both together and get one contractor in, and just one mobilization. And so we got a couple of bids, and this is a low bid, and I think it's a good price.
In the interest of transparency, I'll read what the bid, the other bid was. Again, the W.D. Malone was $674,451, and the Bear Paving was $738,000. So there is a difference. Quick math was at like $54,000, $64,000. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Johnson? Yes, Counselor.
Not a question, but a comment. This has been a very important project for me since taking office. To see it come to, this point. I have to thank the mayor. I have to thank the council for their support. It's been an item that's, these people out there have endured, drainage issues for years. Binder coat is the best at what they have in most of the areas, and the fact that I guess for a better way of putting it, the developer just left it. So we had an obligation to go in there, make it right, get the drainage correct, so these people can have the same conditions that most areas do within the city of Oswego. So I'm very thankful, and like I said, I can't commend the mayor more, and the Common Council, and the DPW's been wonderful also. So thank you very much.
Very good. Anybody else have any concerns, comments, questions? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Tesevario, Councilor Wilmot.
Council Cardino.
Yes.
Council DeMasi.
Yes.
Council Hill.
Yes.
Council Teserra.
Yes.
Council Wilmot.
Yes.
Item number 8, Randall B. Griffin, Fire Chief, is requesting authorization for the mayor to enter into an agreement with JPB Fire Services of Syracuse, New York, for routine and emergency repairs to fire apparatus. Chief?
Good evening. Two things bring me here tonight. The first is the preventative maintenance program that we instituted 2.5 years ago. Now all of our heavy vehicles are New York State inspected, something that's not required by law, but I think it's pretty important. If a dump truck or any other vehicle travels down our streets, it has to be New York State inspected and has to pass that inspection, and I think our fire trucks should have to do the same thing. The other part of that, you don't see a lot of 30-year-old school buses, and you don't see those for a reason. And so we've made improvements with that as well. Hopefully our new ladder truck that's replacing a 30-year-old ladder truck will be here probably sometime around Thanksgiving. So we've made investments in our infrastructure. But with maintenance, what we do currently is we go to the DPW, and all of our oil changes, general maintenance, the same maintenance that would be done on a dump truck or other vehicles that the city owns, is done in-house. What we contract with, or what I'm asking for to contract with JPB, is to allow us to do specific things to fire trucks, the hydraulics, the fire pump, the electrical systems, a lot of the electrical systems, like in a modern car, is all tied together in those systems, so hydraulics won't work if something else fails in the system. So that's what JPB does. The other thing that brings me here is the purchasing policy that the city has with Onondaga County. And so we may exceed that threshold that the council has set forth, and so we want to make sure that we're being prudent, we're being fair with the taxpayer, and we want to make sure that we're getting the best price that we can possibly get. So we bid that out, hit 2 competitors. JPB is the winner of that bid contest, and what we're asking for is to go forth with a contract. What we do when they come to maintain our fire apparatus is they come in-house, and everything that can be done at the station is done at the station. That limits the requirement of overtime and things like that, to have somebody drive a piece of fire apparatus to Syracuse or someplace and then go down there and pick it up. So a lot of that stuff is done in-house.
All right, very good. Any questions for the chief? One quick question that's sort of related to this. I haven't gotten to that part in the budget review because we're not doing it till Wednesday, but this contract that you want to sign with these people, is it in the 2020 budget?
This would be through the end of this year, because we're almost to that level where we had to have the mayor step in and allow for emergency acquisitions. A lot of this stuff comes up as things break on the fire apparatus. So because we're at that threshold, it would put us through the end of the year. Also, I wanted to say that as well, this is all budgeted. We are not exceeding the budgeted amount for vehicle maintenance or anything else. What it is the purchasing policy. The fact that we've spent so much with one particular vendor, that's why I wanted to bid this out.
Very good. Anybody else have any questions? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Councilor Hill, Councilor DeMassey.
Councilor Corino.
Yes.
Councilor Thomas.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Cabrera.
Yes.
Councilor Long.
Yes.
Item number 9, Deborah Code, City Chamberlain, requests authorization to transfer funds within the computer department budget. Mrs. Code?
Thank you, Counselor. Last year, when the 2019 budget was put together, we anticipated hiring a company to upgrade some of our computer wear, and now we're doing it in-house, so we're just moving funds so that we can purchase the product rather than pay the vendor.
Very good. Any questions? Seems pretty simple. Just a transfer of funds. Can I have a motion, please? Councilor Wilmot, Councilor DeMassey.
Councilor Corino.
Yes.
Councilor Thomas.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Cabrera.
Yes.
Councilor Long.
Yes.
Item number 10, the Wastewater Department requests a transfer of funds in the amount of $42,052.24 to pay for Phase 3 from the contingent account G.1990.0460 to the Westside Contracted Services account G.8140.0440 for elevator repairs.
Good evening. I'm John McGrath, the Chief Operator at the West Side Plant. I was here about 8 weeks ago petitioning for $19,000 and some odd change for this elevator project. There were 3 phases listed in that paperwork that you have. I'm assuming that you have the updated paperwork in your packet. And the good news was that the hole did not cave in, but when they got in there to do their work, and by the way, there was a representative from Otis there. I know there was some concern about who was going to be overseeing this other company. Otis has a person on site, and they will have a person on site for this additional to finish it up. The problem was when they got the hole cleaned out, it was discovered that it was a foot short of being able to accept the new cylinder. And there was no way to know that up front. They had to get in there, they had to clean it out. So this additional money that is being requested has to do with drilling out that hole for the extra foot so that this new cylinder can be put into the hole.
All right. Any questions for Mr. McGrath? One quick one.
Yeah.
In reading the contract, it basically kind of defended our position in going to this. This is a hydraulic elevator as opposed to a traction
That's
elevator.
correct.
And
Right.
if we had revamped and gone to a traction, it would have cost a heck of a lot more.
Yes, you would have been up in into the $300,000 range. That's if the roof, the structure of the building could handle that additional 7,000 to 8,000 pounds to, change it over from the cylinder to
So this
the
was the
model.
most cost-effective
Oh, yes.
way to go.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, very good. Anybody else have any concerns, questions? Can I have a motion, please? Counselor Tesorio, Counselor Hill.
Counselor Corino.
Yes.
Counselor Tom.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Tesorio.
Yes.
Counselor Long.
Yes.
All right, I believe the last item is Mayor William J. Barlow Jr. Request approval to establish a $25 rental fee for the new fire pit seating area at Brightback Park to be applied to reservations for exclusive use from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. nightly. Mr.
Yes,
Commissioner.
I'm talking for the mayor tonight. As on the screen, you can see the new fire pit area is complete. What the $25 charge is for the propane and the cushions to be placed from 7 to 9:30. The other reason why we decided we should do something like this, so somebody doesn't reserve it for pretty much the whole summer. There is a fee to that, so that you show up and just don't take advantage of it.
All right, very good. Any concerns or questions? Any discount for counselors to use this pit?
We're actually going to charge you all $25 for tonight for just viewing it from here, so.
Thank you for clarifying that. I don't see anybody else. Can I have a motion, please? Counselor Wilmot, Counselor Tesorio.
Counselor Corino.
Yes.
Counselor Tom.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Tesorio.
Yes.
Counselor Long.
Yes.
All right, is there anything else we need to discuss? Nothing else on the agenda? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please? Counselor Hill, Counselor DeMassey.
Counselor Corino.
Yes.
Counselor Tom.
Yes.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Tesorio.
Yes.
Counselor Long.
Yes.
At this time, I'd like to call the Physical Services Committee meeting for August 19th, 2019 to order. Please call the roll.
Counselor Hill.
Here.
Counselor Wilmot.
Here.
Counselor Tom.
Here.
Counselor Goodson.
Here.
Could I please have a motion to approve the minutes of our August 5th, 2019 meeting? Counselor DeMassey, Counselor Gozick.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor Tom.
Yes.
Counselor Goodson.
Yes.
Is there any old business to come before this committee? Seeing none, we'll move on to communications. Item number 1, the Engineering Department has received a request from Patricia Lawson, owner of a single-family dwelling located at 69 West Mohawk Street, for use of public space for a new wood deck. And Patricia is here today, but there really is no need for her to speak. I did view the property. It looks like a great addition. I also have a letter here from the ORA block leader for the area, Lee Hickey, who also approves of the project, so I would ask for the council's support on this. Are there any questions? No? Could I have a motion, please? Councilor Wilmot, Councilor DeMassey.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor Tom.
Yes.
Counselor Goodson.
Yes.
Item number 2, the Office of Community Development has received a request from the Oswego YMCA for use of public space on Saturday, October 5th, 2019, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and on Sunday, October 6th, 2019, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Washington Square Park to host the annual Pumpkin Festival. This is a recurring event. The YMCA has graciously agreed to operate the event, and I expect that it'll be a success again. Are there any questions from the council? Okay. Could I please have a motion? Councilor Gozick, Councilor Wilmot.
Counselor Hill.
Yes.
Counselor Wilmot.
Yes.
Counselor Tom.
Yes.
Counselor Goodson.
Yes.
And item number 3, Mayor William J. Barlow Jr. has received a request from Jamie Lazinski of Save CNY for use of public space on September 8, 2019, in order to display positive messages and posters recognizing World Suicide Prevention Day. I see Ms. Lazinski is here today. Would you like to speak? Thank you.
First, I'd like to thank the city for all their support. This will mark our 9th year of doing our suicide awareness event that we hold at SUNY Oswego. Close to 1,000 families and survivors will come out not only to end the stigma surrounding mental health, but also seeking hope. 3 years ago, as part of our event, we chose to partner with various organizations on an inspirational poster project. The goal is to simply make someone smile. A few kind words and a simple act of kindness could make the difference in someone's life and could keep them here one more day. This year for our event, we are collaborating with the Oswego County Suicide Prevention Coalition, and together in honor of World Suicide Prevention Week, we are asking permission to once again line Bridge Street September 8th through 22nd with inspirational quotes. There's no cost to the city at all. We will purchase all the supplies, install the posters, and remove them ourselves. We are simply asking for permission to hang the inspirational quotes.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Lewinsky? Counselor?
Through the chair, as you read the request, you said that it was for September 8th, but in your email to the mayor, you said September 8th through the 22nd.
Correct.
So I just want to make sure that the date is correct in the final.
Yes, our event is actually September 21st, and the World Suicide Prevention Week starts September 8th. So we'd like to kick it off in conjunction with the World Suicide Prevention Week, but then leave the posters up right before our event, and then take them down the Sunday immediately following.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, could I have a motion, please? Councilor DeMasi, Councilor Gozick. Yes.
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 Thank you. Is there any other business to come before this committee? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Councilor Gozick, Councilor DeMasi. Yes.
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 Okay. At this time, I'd like to call the Planning and Development Committee meeting to order on August 19th, 2019. Can I have the roll call, please? Here.
Here.
At this time, can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the August 5th, 2019 committee meeting? Councilor McBurney, Councilor Cordino. Yes.
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 Is there any old business to come before this committee? I see none. We'll go to communication. Number 1. Kevin Caracoli, City Attorney, request a review of Section 211-15 of the City Code related to encroachments in public space do not require the approval of the Common Council. Councilor Caracoli.
Mr. Chairman, the Lawson matter was a good illustration of the issue that we're talking about here. Virtually every property in the city of Oswego that has a structure on it is in public right-of-way, and those that want to build have to come before you to get permission like the Lawsons just did. Those who have a structure in place that are trying to sell the property or get financing for the property often have to prove that the property that's actually in public space is legal. Okay? So back in 1980, the Common Council adopted an ordinance that exempt all properties that were constructed prior to 1980 from getting permission to use public space. So all you had to do is prove that the structure was in existence. Mostly we're talking porches, to be honest with you, or in some cases corners of homes. But that porch, for instance, was in existence prior to 1980, and it's all set. We, as lawyers, real estate lawyers, we get a porch affidavit, we submit it to the title company, and that clears up the legal issue with selling the property or getting financing for it. Okay? That was 1980. That was nearly 40 years ago. There aren't the instances of neighbors who can truthfully verify that this porch was in place prior to 1980 are really dwindling. So I checked with a couple of real estate attorneys in town, and they said, boy, it would be great if the city could just refreshen the ordinance and increase the date. So then the question was, okay, well, what's a good date? And I checked with the code folks, and they are reasonably confident that they have records going back to at least prior to 2010 that shows every property that came before this board to get use of public space, or those properties that are in existence and have been for quite some time, that whether they got permission or not, the structure is there. But there is nothing deemed in violation since 2010, since January of 2010. So it would be my recommendation that the committee authorize just a refreshing, so to speak, of Section 211.15, that it simply states that if it is proven that a property, that the permission of the Common Council is given, that any structure heretofore erected or placed or encroaching on any street prior to January 1, 2010 may continue to be maintained without permission of the Common Council. All right? And all that does, from the legal perspective, is it now allows us lawyers and the title companies to find a neighbor or a property owner that says, yeah, that porch has been there since prior to 2010, and then things are covered. So that's my recommendation, or why I wanted this on for discussion. I'm happy to answer questions.
Kevin, or Counselor, I'm sorry, wouldn't a current survey be adequate to show what's there, as far as, you know, the legality of, you know, because I know the finance companies, when we're talking banks,
Yep.
they're gonna want that,
Right.
you know, and how's that gonna work into this scheme?
Yeah, that's a great question. So oftentimes, it is the survey that identifies the encroachment. But that's all it does. It identifies that there is a structure that encroaches. The survey can't tell us when that structure was built, how long it's been in place, you know, so it'll only tell us that it's 10 feet into the public space. So with that knowledge, then the title companies, the attorneys can go out and either find the next door neighbor or come to the city and verify that the structure has a legal building permit that was issued in July of 2009. That's all we need to know, and that'll satisfy the banks, that'll satisfy the title companies, and all the real estate attorneys in town. So,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Counselor, in the request for discussion, it says prior to January 2000. You'd like us to update that to 2010 for the resolution?
Yes, it's a good catch. I was being very conservative because I hadn't consulted with the zoning folks before I prepared that memo. But since then, they went through their records, and they are confident that January of 2010, which is frankly helpful to the real estate market. The more recent we can show the no need for public approval, the better off it is. So yeah, I would, in a final resolution, if it's the committee's determination to send this off to the full council for consideration, we would put in the January 1, 2010. Now this would be an ordinance change, so it would actually have to go through, we'd have to hold a public hearing, and it would have to be published in the newspaper. And I'm suggesting we do it that way as opposed to a local law, only because it's a very minor change, and it won't cost much to do that by putting it in the paper.
All righty, is there any other questions on this matter? No? Can I get a motion? Councilor McVerity, Councilor Cordino.
Counselor Temporero.
Yes.
Counselor Cordino.
Yes, for making it January 1, 2010.
Counselor Cruz.
Yes, with the change to 2010.
Good catch.
We will have a resolution, and within that resolution, I will work with the clerk's office. The resolution will likely have that proposal and then establishing a public hearing date for the ordinance, which would, be two full council meetings from now. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Okay, we're going to go on to item number 2. Nathan Emons, Director of the Rental Assistance Program, request authorization for a public hearing for the 5-year Public Housing Agency PHA plan on October 14th, 2019. Mr. Emons?
Thank you, Councilor. Every 5 years, we are required to submit to the Department of Housing and Urban Development a document called a PHA plan, and we happen to be in our time frame that we have to submit our next 5-year plan. We are fortunate in many respects that we are a small agency. Some agencies have to do what is before you every single year, the larger agencies in particular, and that's very complex. HUD has been gracious over the past couple of years, actually, and reduced the amount of information that we need to supply within our PHA plan. I think they finally understand that we submit so much information to them on a monthly basis that a lot of the information that they were asking for in previous iterations, at least what I could tell, looking back at other plans that we've submitted in the past, is information that they readily can get now. So you have the plan before you. This is, what we're asking for tonight is a public hearing to be established. We are required by HUD regulations to have this document available for 45 days prior to the public hearing, so the public has an opportunity to view it. Our plan is to make it available in our office, which would be accessible any day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., or we can certainly provide an electronic copy if needed. The first couple pages of the document before you is actually the plan itself. Most of the document you have in front of you is supporting documentation. And I'll start with that first. HUD asked the question of, have you made significant changes to your previous plan that was submitted back in 2014? We have made 2 significant changes to that plan, both relatively recently. One was the change in housing preferences that we started in 2017 and amended further in 2018. And the second was a pretty significant change to our housing quality standards, and our not standards themselves because we can't change those, but our additional local variances that we made last year that accompanied this document. You might recall this one. This was our administrative plan that we updated last year. So, and we included a whole bunch of local variances within those housing quality standards and the procedure to ensure that our properties within the city are more reflective of the codes that we have within the city. So those were 2 big changes to the plan. The third, not necessarily a change, but certainly a huge update, was to our policies and procedures related to the Violence Against Women's Act of really started some time ago, but was recently updated. We have updated our policies and procedures related to that in terms of emergency transfers and how we handle incidences of domestic violence within our housing structure. So those are 3 big changes. The other portion of this document, and kind of working backwards a little bit, we also asked to list specific things that we have done to reflect our previous goals from the 2014 plan. I have outlined those all in bullet format on page 4 of the plan. I won't go through them all, but I will say that they've been significant in terms of, especially the past couple of years, in terms of how we have changed the way we do business, what we have done in terms of review of our own policies and procedures, the things that we've updated, our financial processes that we've updated, again, the change in housing preferences, the addition of housing preferences for victims of domestic violence, the homeless, and veterans, which was a pretty significant change a couple of years ago. How we've spent our money. I'm always happy to report that as an office, I like to use the word invest. We invest about $2.3 million back into the local economy every single year through the rent that we provide to our local landlords, which I think is significant. We spearheaded, along with Nancy Sturio, the addition of the language line in the past year as well to help with translation services, and the list goes on and on. And so you can certainly take a look at those at your leisure and walk through them. The goals and objectives for our program, they have remained unchanged, and much of this is provided through HUD itself. So There are 7 goals that are outlined within the plan, and our job is to take those goals and put associated action items that we can do locally to help achieve them. Most are pretty simple and basic, from making sure that we're spending our money properly to ensuring that there's adequate housing available within the city, to the areas of self-sufficiency and increasing the capabilities of our tenants to be more and more self-sufficient and independent within their living structure, and to ensure that our fair housing laws, both at the federal level and at the state level, are being complied with throughout our program. So that is our PHA. It sounds a lot scarier than it is. It certainly is a 5-year plan. It's something that we're held to, but and it's something that we need to ensure gets submitted on time this year. The other parts of this document, just to kind of round out everything, there are some certifications that the mayor will need to sign if and when the plan is approved to certify this whole document. So there's 3 additions to the plan that he will need his signature on, and the dates are according. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Yes, sir.
Nate, we're very thankful for your diligence and the work that you put into this. It makes us as a council feel confident that, you know, we're on the right track. It's only getting better. You know, your whole staff has been an absolute joy to work with.
Thank you.
And I thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a hard-working staff. I mean, just to understand where we've come from in the last year and a half, we were down to only 381 tenants. As of March of 2018, we are at 445 now. So that's a remarkable turnaround, given the time that it takes to actually bring somebody into housing. It takes approximately 90 days from the time that they get pulled off of our waiting list to actually house them. And so it can be a very tedious process. I also like to report out, and these are very recent numbers, we were at a low of 11 program participants within our Family Self-Sufficiency Program. As of September 1st, we will be at 25. So that's a big change. And we are actually approaching 25 is actually a very magic number in the HUD world, because that allows us to apply for a bigger grant the next time around. So that's something that we've been actively pushing for. I wouldn't be surprised if, not to jinx ourselves, but if we get close to 30 before the end of the year. The plan actually has 35 as being our number, but
that's great.
We are doing some hard work to get folks on board.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, I see somebody from...
You know, it's completely out of ignorance, but when the new housing complex opens on will the funds overlap at all? Will it alleviate any of the housing needs for those kids?
I'll answer the question in 2 ways. One, it can. It will in some respects. Unfortunately, that particular complex falls outside of the city, so it falls outside my jurisdiction for housing. That falls within the county's jurisdiction for their particular housing program. So it will help. I think in housing in general within the city, there has been a pretty significant housing turnover in some respects, especially with the college housing that has gone on and that has provided some opportunities for other vacancies that otherwise might not be available to our program participants. The flip side of that is, and I'm not sure how many folks have caught up with this, but the state just released and passed some new tenant protection laws back in June. They are very, very favorable to our tenants in terms of protecting them. They are very challenging for our landlords to work with. So it's a give and take sometimes when it comes to working with our landlords, because I think as a program we try our best to work with them very closely and encourage more and more landlord participation within our program. Sometimes that's made difficult by outside forces and outside policies and procedures that we don't have any control over. So, but yes, I mean, that's a long way to say it should help a little bit. The Harborview will help a little bit as well, relieve some of that. Midtown may help with that as well. The complex that will be built on East First Street, the old factory site there on the corner of East First and Utica will help as well. I mean, we do have some pretty fantastic housing that's going to go into the city that I think will help quite a few folks with their housing.
Thank you, Nate.
Sure.
Any other questions? I see none. Can I get a motion? Councilor Cordino, Councilor McVerity. Yes.
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 Thank you.
Is there any other business to come before this committee? I see none. Can I get a motion for adjournment? Councilor Cordino, Councilor McVerity. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.